Hello and welcome to the Dezperate Actor YouTube channel. It's me, Steve Des from DesperateActor.com. And today we're going to be talking about becoming SAG AFTRA. So first of all, what is this SAG AFTRA thing that you're talking about, Steve? So SAG AFTRA stands for the Screen Actors Guild, and AFTRA is the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. So back in the day, this was 2012, early 2012, AFTRA used to be its own entity and SAG used to be its own entity. These were separate unions that SAG was the Screen Actors Guild, so it represents primarily artists that are on screen, primarily in movies. And then AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, will cover people more on television and radio and voiceovers and things like that. These were completely separate entities, meaning if you were doing like television and radio and things like that, you were part of AFTRA. If you were doing movies and things like that, you were part of SAG. If you were doing both, you were part of both. But each had their own rules. So SAG had a voucher system. So you needed to work in a specific amount of projects. I believe it was like about 3. And once you have all those vouchers together, then you can become SAG by paying for it. But you needed to get these vouchers first in order for you to become Screen Actors Guild. So it's not like you can pay your way through it. You have to get the vouchers first. And once you have the vouchers, you can redeem it for a membership by paying a fee that costs several thousands of dollars. Now, AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, at the time that was a separate entity, had an open door policy, meaning you, your mom, your dog, it doesn't matter who it is. Someone that literally pays the fee to get in, gets in. So all you had to do was pay the fee of $1,600 in order to get into AFTRA. What happens? For the longest time, this was like years and years and years and years. They've been trying to merge these two companies together. They've been trying to put SAG and AFTRA together. And this time, it seemed like everybody, based on the contracts and the merger clauses that they put, it seems like everybody, for the most part, was on board to make this merger happen. Meaning, if you were AFTRA, you automatically became SAG. And if you were SAG, you automatically became AFTRA. And if you were both, then you're both and it's now under one. If the votes will go as a yes. Because the way that the voting system is placed is literally just like politics. So you go and vote, and based on the amount of votes that people get, it's either a yes or a no. And this is something that has been tried in the past, but in 2012, in this particular time, based on the chatter that everybody had in Hollywood and in the industry in general, because it doesn't just cover Hollywood. This covers New York. This covers every place that there's filming for anything, basically, that there's unions established there. Everybody was pretty much pro merger. So at the time, if you looked at my bank account, I legit had about $1,600 in my bank account. At the time, which you can't get this anymore, but at the time I got pretty lucky and I had a little studio in Hollywood, like near Hollywood, that I was paying $550 a month, and that was including my electricity. You cannot get that deal anymore. But this is 2012, by the way. And I had a good, let's say, 3 months worth of rent in that $1,600 I had. And the merger seemed like it was going to happen. And it was on the verge of happening within a matter of days if this thing went through. At the time, if you've been following my story time, I did cover that when I went to this school called AMDA, the American Musical Dramatic Academy, I developed a relationship with my favorite teacher at the time. His name is Rick, and he's a working actor. He's been in a lot of things like Grey's Anatomy, Army Wives, and a bunch of commercials, and the Tonight Show with Jay Leno back in the day. A bunch of things. This dude has done so many things, and I was having frequent meetings with him, primarily online. Like we were going through emails and stuff like that, and then we slowly developed a relationship where we were having lunch together and things like that. And he was giving me mentorship, giving me, a guide in the industry. And that's something that I would definitely recommend for you guys. That if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have someone coaching you about the industry, the ins and outs, the things that you can do better, definitely get one. It doesn't have to be me, but if you're interested on me mentoring you, definitely check out desperateactor.com. We have not only programs and courses for you, but we also have the ability for you to get coached by me. So if you want that, go ahead and check out desperateactor.com. But if not, just get a mentor. It's someone that is skilled in the industry, someone that has been part of the grind, because it's important, man. Like sometimes there are situations such as this one that I was in that I really needed guidance because I knew that like I could jump on board of this, but literally it was all the money I had. And I was in a very tough situation because it was either I take the leap of faith and then I can advance to even better types of work, or I stay the same and I'm just scrambling through a bunch of non-union gigs that some pay, some don't pay, and some pay but not really enough. And yeah, I was stuck in that dilemma. And thankfully, Rick mentored me and helped me get out of that personal frustration that I was in. But just to make the long story short, he said so many things about reasons why yes and why not. But ultimately, he said, if you have the money and you really want this, then why not? Then what's stopping you? And honestly, I know many people in that particular situation. You got to put yourself in my shoes at the time. I don't have any family members. I don't have any guarantees of nothing. I only have $1,600 in my bank account, which is good for about 3 months of the rent that I was paying at the time. And I wasn't really getting paid like that at the time. I wasn't getting gigs that were paying me money like that. I was working for free essentially for the most part. And I was in a really tough situation, man. But thankfully, he gave me that advice because I needed someone to tell me something like that. And when he said that, I didn't hesitate. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the leap of faith. And I paid $1,600 to join AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. The very next day, this was on a Friday, I believe. And the very next day on a Saturday, the votes are counted and the merger is on. So automatically, because of me joining last minute the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, I became SAG. I became Screen Actors Guild. And wow, did that change my life? Because now the doors got open, not only for me to get even better representation, the doors open for better projects for me, and the doors open even for me to get my first recurring role and paid gig. And what was that? You gotta stay tuned to find out, because we're gonna reveal all that stuff in next week's video. And we're gonna talk about the audition process that I went through, the callback as well, and how I ultimately booked my first real paid role that started changing my life in many ways that I never thought possible. And it only took a leap of faith. And that's why I implore you that if you want to take a leap of faith, to check out desperateactor.com, because not only do we have free resources for you, but we have step-by-step programs like the Dezperate Actor Cracking the Hollywood Code program. We have the Supercharged edition as well. We have coaching. We have so much for you, for resources in order for you to get started or get going in your career if you feel stuck. But it only takes a leap of faith, and my leap of faith paid off, and I really, really know deep down in my core that if you take the leap of faith with me, your career will blossom if you do take action and 100% responsibility for your career. Because that's what I did when I was clueless about the industry, and things panned out. It took me a little longer than it should, but things happened for me. And I'm pretty sure that if you have a guide, you have a mentor, if you have someone there coaching you, you will achieve every dream and desire and goal that you have within the industry. So go ahead and check it out, desperateactor.com. Don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend or two that might need it more than you do. Don't forget to like the video for the YouTube algorithm so I can find amazing and awesome people just like you. And that's pretty much it. Make sure to comment below if anything resonated with you or any questions or any doubts that you have. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.